Hello, welcome my friends to the Eurofan, that's me. For today's episode I'm going to review the Moldovan entry for Eurovision 2022, which has been represented by Zdub and Frații Advahov with the song Trenulețul, which in English translates as Little Train. After the sweet and spicy performance gave to us by Natalia Gordienko in last year's contest, making a good impression and also setting a record with the longest note sung in the contest history, Moldova have wanted to go forward with its participation, keeping the faith of having its first victory. Of the performers of this year, some of them have already experienced being on the Eurovision stage, while for the other ones it's the first time. Let's take a look to the artists who took the task of representing the country in Turin. Zdub, as we have already known before, is a Moldovan folk punk group, taking its name from the onomatopoeic sound of a drum pronounced in Romanian. They have a quite extensive musical career since 1994, with its lineup being in constant changes throughout the years, having released 10 studio albums today and releasing songs in Romanian, Russian and English. Currently it's formed by singer and multi-instrumentist Roman Yakubov, bassist and multi-instrumentist Mihail Ginku, guitarist Slavostav Starush, drummer Andrei Chevodari, trombonist and multi-instrumentist Victor Anders, and Valerio Masijo in the trumpet, bagpipe and flute. It's quite surprising how many musical instruments they play all together. For being just a folk punk group, they have previously represented Moldova twice. First in 2005 in the debut year of the country, with the song Bonica Batetova on the contest held in Kiev, Ukraine, where they placed 6th in the grand final, and later in 2011 with the song So Lucky on the contest held in Düsseldorf, Germany, placing 12th in the grand final. With this one, it will be the third participation of the group in the contest, joining the exclusive club of artists that have participated more than twice in Eurovision. In the other hand, the Advahov brothers, or Frații Advahov as pronounced in Romanian, is a Moldovan folk duo formed by violinist Vasile Advahov and accordionist Vitaly Advahov. They were originally meant to be just them when they decided to start a musical career back in 2005, but its popularity eventually grew to the point that various musicians from Moldova and Romania joined them, forming an orchestra. Currently, the orchestra contains 45 instrumentalists, and they enjoy great success, both in their native Moldova and its neighboring Romania. Initially, the Moldovan public broadcaster had planned to organize a national final as they traditionally have done in previous years. Between last December and January of this year, they opened a submission period for artists and songwriters to send their song proposals. It was a coincidence by the time. Zdub and the Advahov brothers decided to join forces to write a song together on the event of the reopening of a train route between Chisinau and Bucharest, capitals of Moldova and Romania respectively, releasing it as a promotional song. But that release did not end there, as they took the chance to participate in the national final with this song, then eventually appearing in the shortlisted songs that were 29 in this occasion. Shortly after the announcement of the participating songs, the Moldovan public broadcaster had to suspend their initial plans for a national final due to the restrictions of that time in the country because of the coronavirus. So they opted for an internal selection to be broadcasted live, with the winner chosen by the votes of a jury on the studio. After all the performances in the televised show, the jury had decided and picked up Zdub and the Advahov brothers as the Moldovan representatives in the contest. Now, making a short calculation, with the group and the orchestra there are 51 performers. That is obviously too much people, because they all cannot be participating in the contest according to the rules. How did they solve it? Very simple. Victor and Valerio from Zdub stayed aside, as well as the entire orchestra of the Advahov brothers. That makes a total of 6 performers, the maximum allowed to be on the stage of Turin. A curious and fun journey on train that has arrived to its destiny. Now here comes the respective analysis according to what they have presented in their official music video. I must start commenting that the song has two versions. In the first version they have presented in the televised show in last January. The song was totally folk and mostly performed in Romanian with a few phrases in English. Sometime later in mid-March they decided to revamp the song, making it a folk rock song, and they also added more English phrases in the lyrics. While the original version is heard in the official music video, the revamped and remastered version was the one heard in the contest. The voice of the lead singer of Zdub is just correct, with nothing to stand out. Also, the song is mostly claimed than sang. About the lyrics, it talks about an energetic and happy train ride between the capitals of Moldova and Romania, as we have already known before. Reading it carefully, it makes much reference of the pan-nationalism between the two countries. Both have formed the Kingdom of Romania once in the past from 1980 to 1940, so there was an ethnic nationalism developed through the decades that lasts nowadays but to a smaller extent. In addition to this, it has been speculated the fact of the message of the song being a nationalist chant, but both groups have denied any allegation of this. They have commented that the song, saw as a metaphor of a musician's life, talks about the union and cultural diversity between countries and regions through the train and music, as both elements manage to connect people. Analyzing the official music video, it has a simple plot that obviously will have to do with travel on a train. A man living in Chisinau, who is the main character of the story, wakes up with the clock alarm, realizing that he woke up late and had to hurry up to not miss the train. He quickly managed to go to the city's central train station with a suitcase and a roll-up carpet, getting aboard the train and looking for a cabin, while he awaits the departure from the station. The lead singer, acting as a waiter in the train, is singing the song while he is attending the passengers on the train, while the rest of the group and the Advahov brothers are in a wagon where is located the train's restaurant playing their instruments. Many of the passengers, encouraged by the singer, walk through the wagons to get to the restaurant and start the party all together with the musicians. Before the second bus, the music and the party stop suddenly as an immigration officer arrives to the wagon, as they were crossing the border from Moldova to Romania at some point, and he proceeded to check out the passengers with a very serious demeanor and a grim face. The officer checks out the main character of the story, asking about his travel destination and if he was taking cigarettes with him, as the officer is attempting to avoid illegal traffic of cigarettes. Then the officer is suspicious about the carpet next to the man and asks him to unroll it, and then his expression changes as he sees the carpet's motif, which was a self-portrait of Moldavian Prince Stephen the Great. As a short historical reference, Stephen the Great was the most important prince of the Principality of Moldavia, who existed during the Middle Ages, which included the area of current Moldovan Republic, parts of eastern Romania, and some parts of southwestern Ukraine. His legacy has also been extended to neighboring Romania, so he is considered an historical and religious hero in both countries. Going back to the plot in the music video, the officer then proceeds to happily stamp the seals in the passports of all the passengers, and at the same time he joins the party, which still goes with energy and enthusiasm, until the train finally arrives to its destination, Bucharest Central train station. In the end, the main character of the story takes a taxi from the train station while he talks to the driver, until he realizes he left the carpet of the train and has to go back to the station to look for it. Making a summary of all the comments, the Moldovan entry of this year is curious, although I have to admit that I don't like this song too much. It's a town party theme entry, where a lot of people can feel identified. For the staging in Turin, it was seen during the rehearsals they wanted to do it simple, with just them doing an energetic and enthusiastic performance as they usually do, using visual graphics based on kaleidoscope patterns, electric guitars, and part of the lyrics in English shown on the screen, and wearing bold and colorful outfits. blending folk and rock fashion styles. This was evident during their live performance in the first semi-final, in which those goodbyes were enough for them to qualify to the final for the third time. Then, during the counting of the votes in the grand final, while the jury were not generous with them, the televote rocketed them to the high ranks, finishing up in 7th place. The result is, to say the least, another successful Eurovision experience within all the extensive career they have had over all these years. But the collaboration will not end here, as they have revealed in many interviews. They are planning to release a collaborative album with original songs composed by them, adding a new chapter to the musical project they have started together, with the song they have performed in the contest. And you, what do you think about the Moldovan entry for this year? Come on and write your comments here below to make a little more discussion. And this is it for today's episode. If my content here is of your taste, I suggest you a few things you can do. Like, subscribe, enable notifications, and follow me in my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.